Today we'll be covering where to stay for your Walt Disney World trip. We'll look at the different options and some things to consider when deciding where to stay. Hello and welcome to the Let's Go to Disney podcast. I'm your host Oliver. Today is Sunday, October 1st, and you're listening to episode 4, Where to Stay for Your Walt Disney World Trip. Before we get into today's main topic, here's what's going on in the parks right now. The Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, the ultra-immersive and ultra-expensive cruise-like hotel experience at Disney World, had its final voyage this week. It opened on March 1st, 2022, and is officially closed as of right now. After having only been open for 18 months, Disney had to make the hard decision to switch gears because they were bleeding money with their voyages. They have yet to announce the future of the existing building, but back in June, Josh D'Amaro, chairman of the park's experiences and products, was asked what would come of the hotel and replied, "No hints yet, but something will happen. I'm very curious to see what they will do with the space going forward." The Villas at Disneyland Hotel over in California officially opened to the public on Thursday, September 28th. This is a Disney Vacation Club, or DVC tower. However, any guest can book a room here if availability allows. Disney cast members and characters were there for the grand opening. The rooms look stunning, and there's no denying the convenience of these hotels over at Disneyland. We'll be planning a trip there in the nearest future to experience that. There's a fun new feature on the My Disney Experience app that allows you to see a countdown if you have a stay reserved at a Walt Disney World Resort hotel. From the My Disney Experience app's main page, if you click on the Resort Hotel tab, you'll see a countdown at the very top of the page. Our current countdown is sitting at 55 days, and as always, I can't wait. Having said that, let's get into today's main topic. We'll get into the different options you have when coming to Orlando for your trip. We'll talk about staying off property versus staying on property. We'll also cover the on-property options and how they differ. And we'll go deeper into the Disney proper accommodations and the different tiers and what offerings may sway your decision one way or the other. So let's start with staying off-site. You don't have to look far to find accommodations in proximity to Walt Disney World. It goes without saying that this is a world-renowned tourist destination and there's no shortage of available options. You can do a quick Google search and you'll find hotels, vacation home rentals, Airbnbs, VRBOs. There's really a ton of options, all within comfortable driving distance to the parks. These options will vary greatly in prices and size. You can find some very nice places to stay. We're talking actual homes with kitchens and pools and rec rooms. Typically, because they're off Disney property, they are less expensive and you can save a substantial amount of money by staying off property. On top of that, if you're able to have breakfast and cook certain meals during your vacation, that alone will save you a significant amount of money. There's also the town of Celebration, which is really close to Disney and has a ton of accommodation options as well as restaurants and shopping. We've stayed in Celebration before and it was really convenient. There's no doubt about that. If you're only going to the parks for a couple days and are planning on doing a bunch of different activities in the Orlando area, it's definitely worth considering one of these options. Of course, make sure you're doing your due diligence before you book accommodations. Going online and reading reviews and looking at photos from other people's recent stays should give you a pretty good idea of what to expect when you get there. Accommodations is definitely one of the bigger chunks of your vacation budget, so you want to make sure you'll be comfortable wherever you choose to stay. One thing I will say, though, is if you plan on being in the parks from rope drop to fireworks, it may not be worth it to book the most expensive, fanciest accommodation if it's only going to be a place where you shower and sleep. Something to keep in mind there. Now, if you're staying off-site, you will need transportation to and from the parks, so you'll have to factor that into your budget. For most people, this means a car rental, which again can vary greatly in price, as well as the cost of parking on property, which is $25 per day or up to $50 for preferred parking. It goes without saying that these types of accommodations don't qualify for the Disney perks. Another option you have for accommodations is Good Neighbor hotels. These hotels are not owned and operated by Disney, but they do have a relationship with Disney, and some of them will offer many of the same perks as staying on a proper hotel. There are over 40 Good Neighbor hotels in the Disney area, and they vary in tiers and prices. You have expensive options like the Four Seasons and some more budget-friendly options like Holiday Inn Resort. Depending on which hotel you book, you will qualify for differing levels of hotel perks. Most of these offer some form of transportation to and from the parks, but some do charge a fee for these services. These shuttles also don't drop you off at the front gate to Magic Kingdom, they drop you off at the Transportation and Ticket Center, or TTC, and you'll have to take the boat or monorail from there. About a quarter of them offer early theme park entry, and a handful offer the extended evening hours, which is Swan Reserve, Swan and Dolphin, and Shades of Green. Some of these hotels, like the Swan Reserve, Swan and Dolphin, are in very prime locations on property. From these, you can actually walk to Epcot's International Gateway entrance and to Hollywood Studios. One thing I will note is that even though these hotels are on property, Disney buses don't go here. You can take boats to Epcot and Hollywood Studios from Swan and Dolphin hotels, and it's close enough that you can walk to the Skyliner and the Epcot International Gateway entrance, so it's very convenient. But as far as shuttles go, the same applies for Magic Kingdom. The drop-off and pickup point is the TTC. I will say that I've been at the Swan Reserve very recently. It's a great place to stay. We got a great rate on our room reservation, and the location is really hard to beat. Being walking distance to the boardwalk area is a huge advantage in my opinion. Last but certainly not least is the Disney Resort hotels. Staying at a Disney proper hotel will grant you some perks. The most significant are early theme park entry, the ability to book individual lightning lanes at 7 a.m. versus 9 a.m. or park open, and Disney transportation to all 4 parks directly from the resort. You can also use your Magic Band or device to open your door and make charges back to your room should you choose to do so. And if you're staying in a deluxe resort, you'll have access to extended evening hours on the nights they're offered, which is usually Epcot on Mondays and Magic Kingdom on Wednesdays. Sometimes they offer them at Hollywood Studios. Of note, they're coming to Hollywood Studios on October 5th, 11th, 19th, and 25th. They'll also be in Animal Kingdom for the first time on November 8th and 22nd and December 4th and 28th. I just want to quickly touch on booking the Disney resorts. So typically speaking, room and package reservations open up in late May, early June for the following year. The sooner you can book your reservation, the better off you'll be. The most in-demand resorts do book up quite far in advance, especially in those busier times of year. So to make sure you're reserving the resort you want in the time frame you want, it's definitely in your best interest to book early. One thing to note, oftentimes, Disney will release room discounts as your travel dates draw nearer. If discounts are announced after you've made your booking, you can contact Disney to have that discount applied to your current reservation. In past years, it's been a fairly common occurrence, and this year they're actually running some really good discounts in the fall and Christmas season, and they've extended that into the winter months of 2024. To check for these discounts, on the Disney World website, toggle to the menu on the left and click Places to Stay. From there, scroll to the bottom of that menu and you'll see a tab for View Special Offers. Click that, log into your My Disney Experience account, and it'll show you which discounts apply to you. So right now, there are discounts of up to 25% off on rooms at select resorts if you book by December 15th for dates January 9th through February 22nd, and for most days on nights between February 24th and March 24th. That's in 2024. Also, Disney Plus subscribers can save 35% off rooms at select resorts on select nights between October 22nd and November 2nd, and November 26th through December 25th. There's also an offer to save 25% on select resorts on select nights between October 2nd and December 25th. So as you can see, there's no shortage of offers on right now. If you have a stay booked during these times and you don't have these discounts applied to your booking, make sure to contact Disney and see if they're able to apply it to your existing reservation, because there's definitely some good savings to be had. With that said, let's get into the Disney resorts. So, Disney categorizes their hotel offerings in 3 different tiers, which are value, moderate, and deluxe. There's also a subcategory under deluxe, which is deluxe villas, but the hotel perks are the same as deluxe. The value resorts are Pop Century, All-Star Music, All-Star Sports, and All-Star Movies, as well as Art of Animation. This is the lowest tier, and so they're the least expensive. Some room categories, like the family suites at Art of Animation, are quite expensive though. I've said this before, but Disney Value is still expensive, usually at least $200 a night, sometimes more in the busier times. These have the least amount of amenities, dining options, and transportation options, although the Skyliner coming in has given Pop Century and Art of Animation another transportation option to and from Hollywood Studios and Epcot, which was definitely a welcome addition to these resorts. The mid-tier is the moderate resorts. These are Caribbean Beach Resort, Port Orleans Riverside, Port Orleans French Quarter, Coronado Springs Resort, and the cabins at Fort Wilderness Resort. These will have better amenities and better dining options, plus the Grand Destino Tower at Coronado Springs, which I'm partial to, feels like deluxe accommodations. The rooms are beautiful here and there's some stellar dining options at this resort. For moderates, transportation is on par with the value resorts with the least amount of options. Another thing to note is that some of the resorts are quite large and spread out, which means multiple bus stations. These accommodations are in the $300 range, sometimes less at the lower times, but definitely more, over $400 per night during the busier times. The top tier are the deluxe resorts and by extension, the deluxe villas. So the deluxe resorts are the most expensive, they have the most amenities, more dining options, and most, but not all, have better transportation options. Deluxe resorts are Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Polynesian Resort, the Grand Floridian, Wilderness Lodge, Yacht and Beach Club, the Boardwalk, and the Contemporary. The deluxe villas are Saratoga Springs, Old Key West, Polynesian, Bay Lake Tower at Contemporary, the villas at Grand Floridian, Kidani and Jumbo House at Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Beach Club and Boardwalk Villas, Boulder Ridge and Copper Creek at Wilderness Lodge, and the Riviera Resort. The difference between the deluxe resort and the villas are simply that the villas are part of Disney Vacation Club, or DVC, which is Disney's point system timeshare. You don't have to be a DVC member to book these rooms, and they will offer the same perks as the deluxe rooms. Some of the villas have extra comforts like kitchenettes, 1 to 2 bedroom suites with full kitchens and laundry, grand villas, the bungalows at Polynesian. There are a few room categories here that are prohibitively expensive. The deluxe resorts range heavily in price, and you can find some rooms around $400 during quieter times at resorts like Animal Kingdom Lodge, and some resorts will be upwards of $1,000 per night during the busier season. Resorts like Contemporary, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, Riviera are expensive at all times of year, no matter what. And all of these resorts qualify for the extended evening hours. So, which room category will be best for you and your family? Let's dive a little deeper into that topic. I'll give you an overview of the different Disney resorts and their offerings to help you decide where you'd like to stay. Let's start with the value resorts. So the biggest benefit for the value resorts is the price. If you want the perks of staying on a Disney proper resort and pay the least amount possible, then value is the way to go. First on my list is All-Star Movies, and by extension, music and sports. They're all right next to each other. So these are themed to, you guessed it, movies, music, and sports, depending on where you stay. These offer pretty much the same options in terms of amenities, dining options, and transportation. So each resort has pools that have theming, like a pool shaped like a guitar at All-Star Music and one shaped like a ball diamond at All-Star Sports. One thing to note, the Fantasia pool at All-Star Movies will face a long closure for routine maintenance from January to April 2025. Each of these resorts has a food court and a pool bar. The rooms were recently refurbished at these resorts and they look really nice. There's only bus transportation to these resorts, so that's something to keep in mind when making your decision. The resort itself is in a good location though, not far from Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Bus rides won't be too long. Next is Pop Century. So Pop Century is themed to different decades, 50s to 90s, depending on what building you're staying in. There's 3 pools, the Hippy Dippy at the 60s, the bowling pool shaped like a bowling pin at the 50s, and the computer pool at the 90s. There's a large quick service location called Everything Pop Shopping and Dining, as well as Pedals Poolside Bar. This resort is on the Skyliner, so that's definitely a plus here to get to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. And it's bus transportation to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. The rooms were also refurbished and they're quite nice. Nothing wrong with the rooms here at all. Across Hourglass Lake on the other side is Art of Animation Resort. This is my favorite value resort. It has landscapes that your littles will recognize, themed to Finding Nemo, Cars, Lion King, The Little Mermaid. This resort does offer family suites. They are expensive even by value standards, but they're quite spacious, so that's definitely a plus. The Big Blue Pool is the largest pool on property, themed to Finding Nemo. It's a zero-entry pool with giant set pieces from the movie. There's also the Cozy Cone Pool, themed to Cars, and the Flipping Fins Pool, themed to The Little Mermaid. There's a large cafeteria-style quick service called Landscape of Flavors, as well as the drop-off pool bar. This resort is also on the Skyliner, which offers convenient access to Hollywood Studios and Epcot, with bus transportation to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. Next up, we have the moderate resorts. So the moderate resorts will have a little more to offer in terms of dining and amenities, although transportation options will be pretty much on par with the value resorts. First up, there's the cabins at Fort Wilderness. Fort Wilderness is set on a 750-acre forest. The cabins are fully furnished. You can pretty much call it glamping. They've got a full kitchen with a private patio and are quite spacious. You can head down to the water and take a boat to Magic Kingdom or rent a golf cart to get around the grounds. There's archery, the Tri-Circle D Ranch, where you can ride a pony or take a carriage ride, or even go fishing. There's kayak rentals and bike rentals. There's really no shortage of outdoor activities at this resort. There's also 2 pools. The Meadow Swimming Pool features a long corkscrew slide. For dining, you have Trails End Restaurant, as well as a popular Hoop-de-Doo musical review dining experience. I've never experienced it myself, but it's definitely on my list of must-tries in Walt Disney World. You can take a boat to Magic Kingdom, like I said, or there's bus transportation to the other parks. Next up, there's Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter. These are 2 separate resorts, but they're right next to each other. These resorts are themed to Louisiana and New Orleans. These resorts are small by Disney standards, and they definitely feel more intimate. Riverside has the Old Man Swimming Pool and 5 leisure pools, 3 in the Alligator Bayou section and 2 in the Magnolia Bend area. French Quarter has the Double Lagoon Pool, which features a 51-foot serpent slide. The Double Lagoon Pool will be closed for routine maintenance from January to April 2024, something to keep in mind if you have a stay upcoming here. French Quarter has Scat Cat's Club Lounge as well as Scat Cat's Club Cafe, where you'll find those famous Mickey-shaped beignets that are delicious. Even if you're not staying here, it's worth a visit just for those. There's also a quick service location here, Sasagula Floatworks and Food Factory. At Riverside, you'll find Boat Rides Dining Hall, which is a table service location that offers Southern comfort food, as well as a couple of bars and quick service location, the Riverside Mill Food Court. The rooms have been refurbished and look really nice. I like the feel of this resort. It's a very appealing resort area. There's boat transportation to Disney Springs from here and buses to the parks. But given its small size, you don't have an internal bus loop with multiple stops like the other moderate resorts that are coming up next. Caribbean Beach Resort. This is another moderate resort, and the buildings are named after Caribbean islands, Barbados, Jamaica, Martinique, Trinidad, and Aruba. The buildings are colorful and the atmosphere is nice there. The flagship pool is the Fuentes del Moro pool. It's a zero-entry pool themed to Spanish Fortress and features 2 water slide, one being over 100 feet long. There's also 5 leisure pools on property. One important thing here, the Fuentes del Moro pool is scheduled for routine maintenance and will be closed from January to March 2024. Sebastian's Bistro is a solid table service option on property that serves up family-style Caribbean flavors. There's Centertown Market and Centertown Grab and Go, as well as Spyglass Grill for quick service options, and Banana Cabana at the pool. In terms of transportation, this is on the Skyliner, so quick access to Hollywood Studios and Epcot, and buses to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. The rooms here have recently gotten a refurbishment as well with a Little Mermaid theme, and they look really good. Now, caveat here for Caribbean Beach, it's a massive resort. Depending on where you're staying on property, you could be far from the main lobby and from the Skyliner station. When you're taking the bus, there's an internal bus loop with multiple stops before you actually get off property, and the same when you get back on property. That's something to keep in mind in terms of giving yourself time to get to where you're trying to go. Last and certainly not least of the moderate resorts also happens to be my personal favorite, and that's Coronado Springs Resort. Coronado is themed to a blend of Spanish, Mexican, and Southwest American cultures. The resort surrounds the Lago Dorado Lake. The resort's flagship pool is the Lost City of Cibola Pool, also known as the Dig Site. It's themed to Mayan ruins, and there's a giant 50-foot pyramid there. It's got a 123-foot water slide that the littles are sure to enjoy. There's also an additional 3 leisure pools on property. You can make Spanish mosaic art here or take part in Sangria University. It's a 90-minute experience where you sample sangria and small eats and create your own while getting an overview of the history of sangria. Super fun experience held at Three Bridges Bar and Grill. Okay, the highlight of this resort, in my opinion, is the dining. There are some stellar options at this resort, starting at Villa del Lago, also known as Three Bridges Bar and Grill. It's located literally at the center of Three Bridges in the middle of the water at the resort. It's a table service lounge with delicious drinks and solid eats. On the top floor of the Gran Destino Tower, you've got Toledo, which offers tapas, steak, and seafood. It's a truly phenomenal restaurant. You've also got Rick's Sports Bar and Grill for more casual eats, and the Maya Grill for traditional Mexican fare. Aside from that, you got El Mercado, the large quick service option. The Dahlia Lounge is next to Toledo, and it's the perfect place to grab a drink and small bites after a long park day. The Barcelona Lounge is on the ground floor of the lobby, and it's a good spot for coffee or cocktails. You've also got the Laguna Bar, Siestas Cantina, and Cafe Rick's. There's no shortage of dining options at this resort. The rooms at this resort are gorgeous. In my opinion, the Gran Destino Tower feels like a deluxe resort at moderate prices. My wife and I have stayed here twice, both times without our kids, and it's really near the top of our list on all of Disney property. The drawback to this resort is there's only bus transportation, and it is a larger resort, so it's got that internal bus loop with 4 stops. We've never had issues with transportation here, but something to keep in mind for timing. Next up, we have the deluxe resorts and villas. Let's kick these off with Old Key West. This is the first, the original Vacation Club property, and it is themed to the Florida Keys. It's a large resort and it features DVC villas, but like I said earlier, they can be booked by anyone. They have deluxe studio rooms, which is very similar to your standard hotel room, and then they have 1 and 2 bedroom villas, as well as a 3-bedroom grand villa. The Sandcastle pool is the flagship pool here, and there's a 125-foot slide, as well as 3 other leisure pools on property. For dining, you have Olivia's Cafe, which serves up a delicious brunch. They also have dinner here, where they serve casual American dining. For quick service, you've got Good Foods to Go and the Gurgling Suitcase. There's also the Turtle Shack for poolside snacks and drinks. The food options are fairly limited given the size of the resort, but given that this is a DVC resort, you could certainly keep more food and potentially cook during your stay if you wanted to. The transportation here is by bus. There is a water taxi to Disney Springs. You can also walk to Disney Springs from here, but it's not super close, so it would be quite the trek. Next up, we have Saratoga Springs. This is another DVC resort, and it's right next to Disney Springs. It's a Victorian-style resort, and it's themed to a late 1800s New York retreat. You'll have studios here, 1 and 2 bedroom villas, and the 3-bedroom grand villas. They have a preferred category here, which will be either closer to the main lobby or Disney Springs. This is another very large resort. The High Rocks Spring Pool offers 0 entry and a 128-foot slide built into the rocks. There's also the Paddock Pool with a 146-foot water slide that flows from a water tower. There's an additional 3 leisure pools on property. For dining, you've got Turf Club Bar and Grill. And for quick service, there's Artist Palette, Paddock Grill, Chippendale's Cafe. And for bar and lounges, the Turf Club Lounge, On the Rocks, and Backstretch's Pool Bar. They have boat transportation to Disney Springs, or you can walk depending where you are on property. You can be really very close to Disney Springs, and it's bus transportation to the parks. Next, we're going to Riviera Resort. This is one of the newest hotels on property. It opened in December of 2019. It's also a DVC resort, and it's located right on the Skyliner route. This is a beautiful resort inspired by Europe and the Mediterranean, as the name implies. Here you'll find tower studio rooms, which are very small but are perfect for 2 people, deluxe studios, and again 1 and 2 bedroom villas, and a 3-bedroom grand villa. The preferred view looks out over the pool in the back of the resort, while standard view will actually get you views of the fireworks. Prices at this resort are never cheap. The pool has a water slide winding around a column tower. This is a very compact resort. It's not spread out like Old Key West and Saratoga. For dining, there's Topolino's Terrace flavors of the Riviera. This has breakfast a la arte with Mickey and Friends and is possibly the best character meal on property. We absolutely love it there. It's definitely worth a visit, even if you're not staying here. There's also Primo Piatto, which is quick service grab and go, and Le Petit Café, which offers tasty treats and specialty coffees. They also have Bar Riva at the pool for drinks and light snacks. For transportation, like I said, there's the Skyliner for Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and it's bus transportation for Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. I truly love this resort. It's beautiful. Next, we're going to the Epcot area resorts, starting with Yacht and Beach Club. These are separate resorts, but again, they're right next to each other, so I'll cover them off simultaneously. Beach Club and Villas are currently undergoing refurbishment, which was needed, so that's a happy sight. These resorts have New England-style beach theming. This resort does have DVC rooms, so you have standard rooms as well as villas. These resorts are extremely popular, especially around food and wine, because you're steps away from Epcot's International Gateway entrance. As if that wasn't enough to pique your interest, they have the best pool area on property in Stormalong Bay and Shipwreck Pool. It's really a water park. It's over 3 acres and includes a sand-bottom pool. There's a 230-foot long water slide atop a shipwreck replica. There's a lazy river. There's a smaller sand beach area with small water slide for the small littles. It's really impressive. There's also 3 other leisure pools on property. These are accessible to guests from both Yacht and Beach Club. Important thing to note, Stormalong Bay and Shipwreck Pool will be closed for routine refurbishment from January to May 2025. That's a big draw for people, so definitely something to keep in mind if you're thinking of staying there. There's no shortage of dining options here. Cape May Cafe, which has a breakfast buffet and surf and turf for dinner. Beaches and Cream, which has diner food and phenomenal sundaes and ice cream. Ale and Compass, restaurant and lounge. Yachtman Steakhouse is a solid option for delicious steaks and fresh seafood. There's a few quick service options, which are steps away from Disney's Boardwalk to access all those dining options, and also steps away from the World Showcase. Staying here is really a foodie's dream. For transportation, you have the Skyliner right by the International Gateway Epcot entrance. You can connect to Hollywood Studios from there as well, and buses to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. You can also access a monorail, but you do need a park ticket to be able to actually get into Epcot. The entire boardwalk area is so convenient, definitely one of my favorite places to stay on Disney property. Still in Epcot Resort area, there's Boardwalk Inn and Villas. This resort is themed to turn of the century Atlantic City, and it overlooks Crescent Lake. This resort also has DVC villas, so you'll find standard rooms as well as deluxe studios and 1-bedroom villas. This resort is across the water from Yacht and Beach Club, and it's a short walk to Epcot's International Gateway entrance. The flagship pool here is the Luna Park Pool, which features a carnival-themed 200-foot water slide. There's also 2 leisure pools on property. For dining, you've got Flying Fish, which is a solid option for seafood, and they also serve steaks. Trattoria Al Forno for Italian classics. Big River Grill and Brewing Works for handcrafted beer and eats. Boardwalk Deli for sandwiches, Boardwalk Ice Cream, Carousel Coffee, there's a pizza window, several bars and lounges, plus all the dining options at Yacht and Beach Club and Epcot. And again, it's a foodie's dream here. Same transportation options as Yacht and Beach Club here, Skyliner access, and buses to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. With a park ticket, you can take the monorail. Next up, we're going to Animal Kingdom Lodge. So this deluxe resort is over near Animal Kingdom, and it is truly a unique and beautiful resort. The theme of this hotel is African savanna, and there's quite literally a savanna at this resort. There's over 200 animals and birds on site that, depending on your room category, you'll be able to see from your window and balcony. The resort itself is themed beautifully, and the lobby is so impressive and immersive, it's actually a little bit overwhelming when you first step inside. This resort also has DVC rooms, so aside from the standard resort rooms, you'll also find villas at Jambo House and Kidani Village, which includes value studios, deluxe studios, 1 and 2 bedroom villas, and 3 bedroom grand villa. The Savannah View room category will be the steepest at any time of year. One thing to note, Animal Kingdom Lodge is one of the more reasonably priced deluxe resorts, and you can find some really good deals here depending on when you visit. You have the Uzima Springs pool here with 0 entry and a 67-foot water slide and Savannah views, as well as the Samawati Springs pool, which also has 0 entry and a 128-foot water slide. For dining, there's some really stellar options here. For table service, you've got Sanaa overlooking the savannah with African and Indian flavors. Try the bread service here. Boma has a delicious buffet with really good options. You've got Jiko, which is a signature dining experience and serves up a blend of African, Indian, and Mediterranean cuisine. The Mara is a solid quick service option. Try the Zebra Domes. And there's several bars and lounges to choose from as well. In terms of transportation, you've only got buses, and there is an internal bus loop here, so that's something to be mindful of. The resort is also next to Animal Kingdom, so it's a little further away from the other parks, but still doesn't take too long to get anywhere, and I've never had an issue with buses here. We'll wrap things up with the Magic Kingdom Area Deluxe Resorts. There are 4 of these, starting with Wilderness Lodge. The Wilderness Lodge is inspired by the American Northwest and is themed to the National Park Lodges. It's an absolutely beautiful resort, and much like Animal Kingdom, the lobby is so impressive, it can really be overwhelming when you first step foot inside. It truly is a stunning resort. This resort also has DVC rooms at Boulder Ridge and Copper Creek, and you'll find standard resort rooms here as well as the DVC studios and villas. The Boulder Ridge villas just got a refresh, and the rooms look really good. For pools, there's Copper Creek Springs Pool, which features a 67-foot water slide built into the rocks. You've also got Boulder Ridge Cove Pool. For dining again, you've got some good options here. Storybook Dining at Artist Point is one of my favorite character meals on property, where you'll meet Snow White, the Evil Queen, Grumpy, and Dopey. It's a beautiful restaurant. Whispering Canyon Cafe, ask for ketchup, that's quite the experience, I won't say more than that. Geyser Point Bar and Grill is a hidden gem with delicious eats and drinks. For quick service, you've got Roaring Fork and Territory Lounge for bar service. For transportation, even though this is in the Magic Kingdom area, it's not actually on the monorail loop. There is boat transportation to and from Magic Kingdom, and it's buses to the other parks. This is a beautiful resort, and we absolutely love it here. Next up, we're heading to the Contemporary. This hotel is iconic, and it's been around since the start of Walt Disney World in 1971. The A-frame building with the monorail passing through is quite impressive, and it fits in with the theme of Tomorrowland not too far away. This resort is actually the closest to Magic Kingdom, and it's just a short walk to the front gates of the resort. Inside, there's massive 90-foot murals by Mary Blair, an Imagineering legend. The resort view rooms gives you nightly fireworks and lovely sights of the Magic Kingdom. This resort really is quite the experience. This is also a DVC resort, and there are villas at Bay Lake Tower right next door. The main resort rooms were recently refurbished and are now themed to The Incredibles, and they're super cute. There's a heated pool with a curving water slide. For dining, you've got some iconic options on property. Let's start upstairs with California Grill. This 15th floor restaurant has sweeping views of Magic Kingdom, and if you time your reservation time right, you'll get fireworks views. You can also take your receipt back if you ate there earlier and catch the fireworks from the balcony. They'll pipe in the music from there as well. You've got Steakhouse 71, which is a solid option for lunch and dinner. I'm partial to the Stack Burger. Chef Mickey is a hugely popular character dining experience. It's right in the main lobby. Contempo Cafe for quick service. They have some really unique treats here. And there's several bar and lounge options around property. For transportation, it's pretty great and hard to beat. You're steps away from Magic Kingdom on your own 2 feet, or you can take the monorail to Magic Kingdom or Epcot, and it's bus transportation to Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. This is truly a great resort. Still on the monorail and Magic Kingdom area, we've got the Grand Floridian Resort. This is a lovely resort across the Seven Seas Lagoon from Magic Kingdom with Victorian-inspired style with iconic white buildings and red roofs. It's really a beautiful resort. This is a DVC resort, so there is studios and villas on property as well as the standard resort rooms, and they're really impressive. The rooms here are beautiful. The resort is currently undergoing some refurbishment, so something to be mindful of there. This resort, like all the monorail resorts, is never cheap. Prices here are steep, there's no doubt about that. For pools, there's the beach pool with a 181-foot slide in a natural spring setting. There's also the Courtyard Leisure Pool with 0 entry for more relaxed vibes. For dining here, you've got some really upscale and bougie options. The phenomenally expensive Victoria and Albert, this is next level fine dining. You've got Narcoossee's and Citrico's, which are both more upscale dining experiences. You've got Grand Floridian Cafe, 1900 Park Fair character dining, which is currently not open with no opening timeline as of yet. Gasparilla Island Grill for quick service, which serves up some delicious options. Enchanted Rose Lounge is a lovely space, plus other bars and lounge options. There's no shortage of dining options here. Plus, being on the monorail gives you quick access to all the other resorts on the monorail and all their dining options as well. For transportation, again, monorail to Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and buses to Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. You can walk to the Magic Kingdom from here, but it's on the other side of the lagoon, so it's a longer walk. May not be an issue for you, but concerning all the walking you'll do in the parks, that may not be super appealing to some, which I totally get. And last but certainly not least, we've got the Polynesian Village Resort. This is another iconic resort and also opened in 1971 with Walt Disney World. This hotel is inspired by the South Pacific and has island theming throughout. It's a wonderfully themed resort, and it's one of my top 2 favorite resorts on all of Disney property. I absolutely love the vibes here. Stepping onto the resort grounds brings me peace. If I stayed here for every stay, I'd be happy. There is Studio Villas here for DVC, and they're actually building a brand new Polynesian DVC tower right next door. You can see the construction on the Seven Seas Lagoon from pretty much anywhere around the water. The resort proper rooms recently received a Moana retheme, and they're really beautiful rooms. For pools here, there's the main lava pool with a 142-foot water slide going through a volcano and the more relaxed Oasis pool. You can also watch the fireworks from the beach here, and they pipe in the music for those watching. For dining, you've got hugely popular Ohana, which is a character meal for breakfast and a delicious family-style meal for dinner. There's the Kona Cafe, which is also a good option. Captain Cook's is quick service, and it has some good options as well. There's also Pineapple Lanai, not far from the pool, which serves up Dole Whip. Need I say more? I basically live there when I'm on property. There's also Trader Sam's Grog Grotto, which is a super fun lounge that's very popular. There's also a couple of other lounges and bars. And again, being on the monorail, aside from the solid options that you already have on property, you have quick access to all the other dining options on the monorail. For transportation, it's the same as the others, monorail to Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and you can walk, but it's not super close, and you have buses to Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. Again, one of my favorite resorts, I'd recommend it to pretty much anyone. Biggest drawback, like all Magic Kingdom resorts, it's super expensive. Now, I know that's a huge amount of information. I hope this gave you a good idea of the different options to stay on and off property and will help you make your decision about where to stay. If any specific resort piqued your interest, I encourage you to dig a little deeper, look up the resort, watch resort tours on YouTube to familiarize yourself with the resort, and help decide if it's the right fit for you and your family. With that said, thank you so much for joining me today to talk Disney resorts. To make sure you don't miss any future episodes, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. I would also love it if you could take a moment to rate and review the show. This helps us reach more listeners, and I love the feedback. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for much more magical content. Have a great day, and we'll see you real soon.